super signing. The teachers union and government ink an important agreement.
And still no bail for the woman accused of killing her husband.
Track stars, the world's top athletes start arriving for the World Relays. The Bahamas Tonight, the national report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Good news coming from the education sector tonight. This, as the government signed an industrial agreement with executives of the Bahamas Union of Teachers. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Saunders.
And I'm Charisma Robinson. Better working conditions and salary increases are among some of the issues facing teachers that this agreement seeks to address. Siaska Adderley has the details on today's signing.
A 5-year industrial agreement was signed between the Ministry of Education and the Bahamas Union of Teachers. It was a deal that was 2 years in the making. BUT's acting president Zane Lightbourne called Wednesday's signing a step in the right direction.
Teaching is a profession of professions, thus making all other professions possible. And we applaud the government in their quest for the vision that they share in the Bahamas Union of Teachers for the overall status improvement.
The agreement, which spans from 2013 to 2018, addresses a number of issues important to the BUT and its membership, including working conditions and salary increases. Industrial Relations consultant Keith Archer led the negotiations on behalf of the government. Education Minister the Honorable Jerome Fitzgerald, who was on hand for the signing, called it a great day for the BUT and education.
Today signifies the accomplishment of a formidable task, which is to ensure that all stakeholders are satisfied that the bargaining agreement reflects the needs of its members.
The Education Minister did admit that ongoing issues between BUT's executives and its president, Belinda Wilson, delayed negotiations, but maintains all parties concerned were focused on reaching the best agreement that would benefit teachers in the public school system.
The key concern for everybody was to get this agreement done, and the executives in Bahamas Union of Teachers, I think, is bigger than any one person. We have over 4,000 teachers involved.
Minister Fitzgerald announced that a senior government official will be assigned to work directly with executives of the BUT to address concerns moving forward. He also confirmed this morning that approximately $1 million in back pay will be paid out to 100 teachers by the end of June. In fact, payments could be made to some of those teachers as early as next month. To date, the government has paid $5.3 million to over 1,000 teachers between April 2013 and June 2014. The 5-year deal was marked by both sides as fair and in the best interest of the country's teaching population. Siaska Adderley, ZNS Network News.
The controversy surrounding the Urban Renewal co-chair's refusal to appear before the Public Accounts Committee has dominated headlines in recent time. The Attorney General has also reportedly given an opinion on the matter, but House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major will have the last say.
Now, before we get to the business at hand, just by way of update regarding the present impasse as it relates to the Public Accounts Committee's work and the Urban Renewal Commission's report, the chair is still taking that under advisement, and as soon as possible, the chair will report on our findings and our ruling going forward. Thank you for your patience.
Amendments to the Immigration Act are expected to come into force on May 10th, and the regulations are expected to come into force on May 11th. The amendments were recently passed by legislators and make way for persons born to non-Bahamians in the Bahamas who have not reached the required age to apply for citizenship to actually register for a belongers permit. In Parliament today, Immigration Minister the Honorable Fred Mitchell gave an update on the numbers at the Carmichael Road Detention Center.
There are now 133 people in the detention center as of this morning. Of that, the largest number is 57 Haitians, and then 23 Cubans, and a smattering of other nationals, including 6 Venezuelans and 2 nationals of Ecuador. Those last set of individuals, the Venezuelans and Ecuadorians, were detained for working without a work permit on a construction site in the Bahamas. The public is also asked to note that increasingly, non-nationals are appearing in our courts charged with offenses of moral turpitude. We've received reports of people engaged in crimes of immoral user and also of houses being used for people who seem to be in preparation for smuggling to some other country. We continue intensive investigation into these matters and ask the public to continue the stream of information which we receive.
Sports Minister Dr. Daniel Johnson quashing media reports of predicted power cuts at the IAAF BTC World Relay event set for this weekend at Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. With rolling blackouts through the week, there was concern that the challenges being experienced at the Bahamas Electricity Corporation could negatively impact one of the biggest sporting events in the world. However, the sports minister said blackouts won't be an issue.
The Thomas Augustus Robinson Stadium has 4 generators, 20,000 gallons of fuel, and can actually run on its own for 5 days, firstly. Secondly, all of the systems, the IBS, the international broadcasting companies are prepped and ready to go. All the computer systems are prepped and ready to go. 2 weeks ago, we had a test event. We turned on every single pipe, line, monitor, and light bulb in that space. It is not that we don't, that we're not ready, but everything has been tested, and we're beyond ready, sir. We're ready to start.
In news from the courts, a jury has convicted Owen McKenzie of manslaughter in the death of CV Bethel student Jamal Wilshcombe, who was killed 7 years ago. McKenzie was initially charged with Wilshcombe's murder. However, jurors acquitted him of that charge. Jurors also found McKenzie guilty of causing harm to Wilshcombe's brother, Lee Sanchez Dormius. At the same time, McKenzie's co-accused, Candario Bain, absconded yesterday. However, jurors still convicted him in his absence. They found him guilty of manslaughter and guilty of causing harm to Dormius. The third defendant, Donald Nottage, was also convicted of causing harm and attempted robbery by a count of 9-3. Following the verdict, however, defense counsel raised a technical issue on the manslaughter conviction. The court will hear their submissions on that technical point in June. Still at the court, accused murderer Donna Vasili will have to wait a little bit longer to find out whether or not she will be released on bail. This after Justice Stephen Isaacs adjourned the matter to later in the week. During today's proceedings, Vasili's attorney, Mario DeSille, indicated that his client had mild hyperthyroidism and high blood pressure, which requires medication. DeSille noted that the 54-year-old Australian is if released on bail, she's willing to comply with any conditions imposed by the court, including 24-hour house arrest, being fitted with an ankle bracelet, and she will surrender her travel documents. DeSille also noted that if asked, the Australian government is prepared to cancel Vasili's passport and put her name on a stop list. However, the Crown maintained its early objections to Vasili being granted bail, noting that, among other things, that a passport will not prevent somebody from absconding. The Crown also refuted DeSille's contention and a suggestion by the court that the evidence against Vasili is weak, noting that she will be served with a voluntary bill of indictment papers on May 20th. Justice Stephen Isaacs is expected to give his written ruling on Vasili's bail application on Friday.
Social change. The country remembers the beginning of a quite quiet revolution.
Final goodbye. The corporation mourns the passing of one of our own. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
Of the news is brought to you by the new Shell & Letty, designed for extra miles.